Okay. Hello, everybody that's watching right now. This is our second author panel of the week, and we're going to be discussing self-publishing with Julie K. Cohen, Vicki L. Holt, Kate Rudolph, Sandra R. Neely, and Alana Khan. Hello.
Hi.
If you guys have any questions while we are discussing, you can pop them in the comments, and we will either try to answer them while we go, or we will definitely answer them at the end. I'm going to open it up with our first question, which is what made you consider self-publishing? We're going to go with Kate first.
I'm just impatient. I have something done and I want to like release it out to the world. With traditional publishing, it takes like 2 years minimum. Like if you're on hyperspeed, I don't have that kind of patience. I want to do something immediately, and I'm a control freak, so I want to do it all myself. So yeah, that would be why I chose this path.
Alana?
You're muted.
Okay. I started writing books many decades ago before there was an internet, and I got very close to being traditionally published, but I did not get traditionally published, and then I went on with my life. So many years later, when I decided to start writing again, going the traditional route was not even on my horizons. That wasn't even a thought. And now that I have been traditionally published, or not traditionally published, self-published, I wouldn't do it any other way. There's a lot of positives about being your own boss, like Kate was just saying.
Sandra?
I didn't know I was going to publish. I just had these daydreams in my head over and over again, sat down to type them up, and I figured my mother and maybe my best friend might write them, but I could be able to say, hey, I published a book. I had no idea 34 books later I'd be sitting here self-published. I didn't even know what self-published was. I stumbled on it. Completely a fluke for me.
Yeah, that's how it was for me too. I completely stumbled on. I didn't know you could do that until I think the Kindle came out. Yeah. Julie?
The Kindle, and I read it forever, but I had no idea.
What made me consider self-publishing? I think it was wanting to be able to write what I wanted to write. I came very close with traditional publishing, and then I did get a few books published through a digital publisher. But when they start trying to tell you, no, your audiences won't like this, or they can't do that. And it's like, well, this is the story I want to write. And like someone else said, you can go much faster when you're writing on your own. You're your own boss. You set your own pace, and it's really, you shape your career better here than anywhere else.
Vicki?
Yeah. So like Alana, I started writing a long time ago, 3 decades ago. And at that time, I did try the traditional route with the query letter and the submissions and submit the first 3 chapters. And one of the happiest days of my life up to that point was when a publishing house asked for the first 3 chapters. I was really flying high, and then nothing happened after that. So tune in 30 years later, self-publishing is, widely accepted, widely available on, quite a few platforms. What is funny is I'm actually hybrid. I have self-published YA paranormal, and I also now am publishing sci-fi romance through a very small press, and so it's a little bit of both worlds.
We have our first question from Nancy. Do you use a certain program or software? And I will go ahead and ask Sandra.
Yes. Yes, I do. I write exclusively in Scrivener. Everything I do is in Scrivener, and I can format it there and then output it in any format I need. Now, I won't tell you I liked it at first. I cried for 2 weeks, but I forced myself through it because I bought it. And now I can't even consider writing in anything else.
Oh, Alana?
Okay. I write in Word. I have also written in Google Docs. There are a lot of other programs that have bells and whistles in terms of formatting programs. There's like Grammarly and ProWriter Aid that help you kind of correct many of your mistakes. There's tons of back-end additional programs that I use. I don't know if you were talking about, were they asking for writing programs specifically, or?
I would imagine writing or self-publishing, like anything you might use. I mean, all encompassing.
So there's something called BookBrush, where I think a lot of us, we can put our cover in cute little positions, and there's so many other little programs that I think make our lives easier. But writing, you can just write on your word processor, whatever process you use, and you can do it that way.
Julie?
I'm sorry, did you call me?
Yep.
Sorry, it cut out. I use Word, and then I do upload through Vellum, which is exceedingly easy in terms of all the formatting. And as she mentioned, BookBrush, I actually use Canva, which is a similar program to create images such as the one going on behind me, or I could take my covers that a designer created and I can integrate them into marketing. But in terms of the actual writing, it's just Word document for me. And I know there are a lot of programs, different authors use different things. My biggest problem when writing is trying to keep track of a lot of the little details. So I write a separate file that's called a Bible. There are programs that do that, but my Bible basically incorporates everything about my characters, such as eye color, when they were born, who they're related to, all the little details that I often forget. And I need to go back and check for consistency, especially in a series going from book to book to book. There are programs that do that, and I look into those from time to time because that's one area where it can be very hard to keep track of all the details. But for now, just Word and Vellum for me.
I completely second Vellum. I don't know what I would do at this point without it. I love it so much. I also use Plotter for like my Bible, which is strange because I don't outline, but for some reason it just works for me. I just put all the details in there. Let's go to Kate.
So I used to use Scrivener, but it betrayed me with the recent update. I had written like an entire book in it, and it only output half of the book, which was not great. Now I didn't lose it. I just had to like manually copy the text out into another document. And now I'm using something called WPS Office, which is like a Word clone. Like I have Word, but it slows my computer down so much to use. And so I found this like free Word clone that is amazing and I love it. So I've been using that for maybe 6 months now. I'm on Vellum. I do use Vellum to make my ebooks, and I have the PC users complaint because Vellum is only for Macs. So I literally bought a used MacBook to run Vellum. And it's so easy. Before that, I was using Draft to Digital's free conversion tool, which is also a really good thing if you don't want to purchase a Mac to run one program. But I was feeling left out, so I bought the Mac because of FOMO. And Vellum's a really good program. And then I also use a little. I don't know if it's software or a website. It's just a little Pomodoro timer, and that's when I'm writing. So it'll give me like 20, 30, 40-minute time. And that's like when I'm working, and then theoretically 5-10 minutes for taking a break, or 40 minutes, or however long the break is. But it's you can get a lot done if you're actually working for 30 minutes and not turning away from everything. And then I also use BookBrush and Photoshop and stuff.
Vicky?
Yeah, when you're self-publishing, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, you're not just writing your books. A lot of times you're heavily involved in the cover process and the formatting process, and so we do use lots of different kinds of software. I'm kind of a fan of some Broderbund products, so I have Home Photo Studio is one. I also have Printmaster, and this is for like promotional materials, playing around with book cover things. I just bought Atticus software for the formatting, but I haven't really started using it yet. And like the Pomodoro, I was using Pacemaker, which is also pretty nice for tracking words. There are a lot of tools out there. It's just finding what works best for you.
Yeah, I'd like to add Canva. I see a couple people were talking about it in the comments, is huge. One thing a lot of people don't know about is if you're trying to do little book mock-ups, which I struggled with for the longest time. I still cannot figure out how to do that. There is a website called DIYbookcovers.com, and at the top there's a little thing for mock-ups, and you can just upload your book cover in there and it'll give you certain mock-ups back, PNG style, which I thought was awesome when I started doing it, because I could not for the life of me figure out how to make them. Okay, let's go to networking in self-publishing. Is it necessary, and why? And let's start with Alana.
Yeah, you didn't want to start with me on that one. I like to sit in my room and write, and so the networking is not. I think there's a question coming later about what's your least favorite part of publishing, so you got me on that. But you kind of have to meet people, and I'm doing better at it, and it is important to not just sit in your office and write. That's all I have to say.
It's not necessary. I mean, think of like Ernest Hemingway or something. It's not necessary to network, but and I cannot speak for the other genres, subgenres. I'm only speaking for the sci-fi romance subgenre. I have found networking to be invaluable, and not only invaluable, just what an amazing supportive group of authors. I really felt embraced by the community, uplifted, supported. Everyone just jumps to help one another. And in that respect, I mean, it kind of has gone beyond networking to just friends. But I would say, as a self-publisher, networking is definitely going to help you expand your work.
Kate.
Yeah, it's necessary. I mean, it's like we share each other's stuff. We bounce ideas off of each other. We do. But yeah, I mean, like that's what it is. I got nothing more to add.
Sandra?
Yes, it is absolutely necessary. If I didn't network, I would still be sitting on my couch wondering if anybody was ever going to read my book. I stumbled across the indie community and they took me by the hand and said, I like that. Come on, let's show everybody else. And if it hadn't been for them teaching me to promote what I dreamed up, I don't think I'd be here right now. I mean, they are just, it's an enormous community and they are as supportive as your own family. Without them, you're going to struggle. You will, if in the indie community. You have to have a presence because they in turn use their presence to support you just like you do them. And it helps us all, I think, not only better our words, but to become better people in general. You know, we reach out to each other for personal matters, not just professional anymore. And without it, I don't think that I would have excelled to the level that I have. And professionally, yeah, it is absolutely necessary, in my opinion.
Julie?
I don't think it's necessary for publishing. You certainly can get started and publish and find readers who like your work. But if you network, it's like with any other career, you can go so much further with the networking, not just from how to reach new readers, but also in understanding how the industry works. And like the questions we're asking here, or people are asking of us, you know, what tools do we use? We go back and forth sharing the information, what tools or where to market, how to market, what to avoid, you know, what the pitfalls may be. Just any and everything that helps us understand how to get our books out there and how to protect ourselves as authors as well. You know, if someone's pirating our books, or there's a problem with software that people need to know about, whatever it is. So it's a wonderful tool to have all these people that have different experiences, and to gather in a place like Facebook or elsewhere and put a question out there and say, hey, has anyone ever encountered such and such? And then you get a lot of opinions and advice and people who go out of their way to help you. And like someone said before, especially the sci-fi romance community of authors is fabulous. And I am so glad I stumbled upon this group. I started writing in this area without knowing anybody, and I was welcomed in, and it's a fun group, but they're a very helpful and supportive group. And writing can be very lonely, certainly. So there is no one else out there who's going to understand you and what you go through as well as another author will. So there's definitely benefits to it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what everyone has said. I am an introvert at my core, and so I hate networking as a whole. Like I cringe, but it definitely has like taken what I've done to the next level by kind of coming out of I mean, I'm doing this, for example, which I never would have thought I would have done that. So like I have the first year of my career, which like I hid behind my computer and didn't talk to anybody. And then I have all the years that followed after that, where I have learned so much from just talking to other authors. And like, I have so much support now because of that. Yeah, so I agree. I think it's necessary. I think you could get away with not doing it, but why wouldn't you want to at least dip your toe in a little bit? You'll get something out of it. Let's do, how much money does it cost to publish a book? And let's start with Sandra.
A whole lot. I was fortunate in that my mother has been my editor since day one. So editing didn't cost me anything. She's now unable to. So now I'm paying editors, and rightfully so, because Lord, I wouldn't want their job. But between the editing and the covers and the revisions to the covers, and then you've got to look at your promotions. Are you going to use a promotion house? Are you going to do it yourself? Your ads? I spend upwards of between $1,500 and $2,000 per book by the time I'm finished promotions and advertising at the day I release it. It's expensive. It's very expensive if you want to push it as far as you can.
Julie?
I would say it can cost as little or as much as you want. So if you're just starting out, don't let the cost intimidate you. You can start off very slowly with, assuming you have a computer, writing in Word. It's a lot of the programs that authors start out with, or they have free levels that you can use, something like Canva at the free. You don't have to pay for it. I mean, actually what I built behind me, that was through all free services. I didn't do anything other than the cover and these aliens that you see that I did pay for a designer for, because I just don't have that talent. But a lot of people do have the talent, and some make their own covers. If you can do it where it looks professional and competitive in the market, great. A lot of people don't have that talent, so you end up, you pay a designer. If editing is crucial, if you can't pay for someone to edit, perhaps you can find various programs to help you and actual people to beta read and to help edit. There's a variety of ways of doing things until you can figure out where and how to spend your money. And once you start earning money, it's a process. You build, you'll change, you'll grow as you go. But it's not like your very first thing is that you have to put $1,000 into publishing that book. It might take a while to build up to a level where you can afford to even put in the money towards a better cover designer or the editor or whatever it is. So like Sandra said, I'm not trying to contradict her or anything. You start off and you build as you go, and you decide where and how to spend your money.
Vicki?
Yeah, Julie hit the nail on the head. It's really up to you as the author. I was trying to think if I had anything to add. I guess you could ask yourself what your motivations are. So if your motivation is to say, I've written a book and I've published a book, and you want a couple of hard copies to give away to friends, then it can be zero and then like the cost of your little print book. If you want to expand your market and get as many people as possible to read it, then you're going to start spending money, because that's where your advertising comes in and your better covers and whatnot. So maybe consider what your personal goals are regarding publishing a book, but otherwise what Julie said.
Kate?
I mean, anywhere from $0 to thousands of dollars. I have published books, and I'm not going to say which ones they are, that I never put a cent into them. I make all my own covers, so I have a lot of experience in Photoshop and stuff. So I'm able at least to keep doing that and saving on that one. But like, even if you don't have a ton of experience, there are ways and means to go about not putting a lot in. Or once you have cash and once you're able to do that, you can find, service providers that are cover designers, editors, et cetera, et cetera. I'd say if you see an article floating around the internet telling you it takes $10,000 to publish a book, that is what we call in the industry bullshit. You don't, I mean, even if you're putting like an audiobook and a translation and you're buying like a bunch of hardcovers or something, maybe, but it's, even when you're spending a lot, it's in the low thousands for an ebook. And it's all about what you're ready and able to put into it. And yeah, so it really, really depends on who you're working with, how long your books are, how many you're publishing, all of that.
Alana?
I don't really have much to add other than if you've heard of the website Fiverr. I think it's hard to get sci-fi romance covers probably on Fiverr, but any other genre, you can really get like a decent cover for $5 or $10. And there are low-cost people on Fiverr who also do some editing. And, you know, I think money shouldn't be a big barrier to entry if you really want to get your book out there. And as everybody said, you can kind of scale up once you're making money. There's plenty of ways to spend more money, but you don't necessarily have to.
All right. I think we're going to move on to what is your favorite part about self-publishing and what is your least favorite part about self-publishing? And I think we're going to go to Vicki first.
Okay, well, I'm excited to answer this one. My least favorite aspect of self-publishing is formatting. I remember just pulling my hair out trying to get all the margins right and everything to look right, and it was maddening. My husband got tired of hearing me cuss about it, and he's a software developer, so he figured out a way to mimic a Mac on my PC so that I could use Vellum. So that's my least favorite, and that's what I love about going through my little publishing house. I don't have to mess with it, thank the Lord. What I love about self-publishing is just other people have said it tonight, just being my own boss. You know, I have an idea, I'm going to run with it. Yeah, making all of those executive decisions and just maintaining control.
Sandra?
Pretty much Vicki covered it. The best part to me is being able to have the final say. I can't imagine writing this story, and all of us, you put your heart, your soul, your dreams, everything goes into this story, and then having somebody say, we don't like that ending, you're going to have to redo that. I just can't imagine it. So to me, the freedom to be able to write what my heart dreams up is the best part. The worst part, I think the worst part would be learning to deal with the critique. That would be the worst part, because to you, in your head, you see how everything should flow. Well, maybe somebody else doesn't. And you have to learn that just because somebody doesn't like it or has opinions on it, doesn't mean it's bad or it's wrong. It just means you need to learn to loosen up a little bit. It's like you send your first kid off to daycare, and you're like, oh, but I got to be with them every minute. You don't have to be that protective. And if you let down your defenses a little bit, then you'll learn about yourself and how to improve. But the worst part to me is the criticisms, the critiques that you have to learn to figure out and how to live with. If that makes any sense at all. I'm having a hard time putting it into words, which is funny considering what I do for a living.
Alana?
The best thing about self-publishing is writing. And as everybody said, in the traditional publishing, where you from conception to it going out to the public can be 2+ years. With me, if I sit down and write a book, it can be out whenever I want it to be. And I get to choose the cover, and I get to choose everything. And I agree with what Sandra was just saying. I can't imagine somebody going, nope, we don't like that, because I think probably most of the people listening really know your readers, and you must know that we live and breathe these characters and these stories. They become part of the family. I dream about my people every night pretty much. So I can't imagine somebody telling me what to make them do, because they dance for me in my dreams. I'm not changing that. So that's the best part The worst part, I think, is the self-promotion, this kind of thing, or getting on all the Facebook groups and going, read my latest book, it's so terrific. You know, I can tell the world how great every one of these other authors is, but when I have to tell them how terrific Alana Khan's greatest, you know, newest book is, it's just not a comfort level, but I do it because that's, you can't just write it. When I was writing my first couple of books before they were published, I really thought nobody would buy them at all. And so I was very shocked when I realized people bought my books. So I do like for people to buy them, and nobody can buy them if they don't know how great they are. So you do have to do some self-promotion.
Julie?
I'd say the ability to write what I want, when I want, not have to answer to anybody else. I get to choose the covers, the material, the timeline. If I want to cut back a little bit because there's a lot of other things going on in my life, I certainly can do that. So that's the best part, is being totally my own boss. On the other hand, there is the marketing, which is, it's very time consuming, and I don't like where, you know, you end up spending a lot of time in marketing, and I'd rather be doing the writing than the marketing. And some people have a business partner to handle the marketing side. That's great. A lot of us are just solo operators, where we have to do everything from the accounting to the marketing to, you know, writing the book, cover, everything. So it's that balancing act. And I don't like when my marketing seems to be taking more time than I want it to, because I want to be writing. I'm a writer more than anything. That's it.
Kate?
The best part is getting to sit in my chair and make up stories all day. I mean, that's kind of the best job that in the world. I actually get paid for it, you know, doesn't suck. And yeah, the worst part is marketing. I hate it. I don't want to do it. I don't do it often, to my detriment. And that's kind of the counterpoint to being able to sit in my chair and make up stories all day, is I have to actually tell people about those stories. Otherwise, you know, I don't get to keep sitting in my chair making them up. I have to go sit in somebody else's chair and do their work. But yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, I agree about the best part is, you know, this is what you get to do for a living, and that's like so exciting. And I would agree with everyone, like all of your worst parts, like every little piece of them, especially because when I started out, I did not realize, I thought I was going to quit my job and my life is going to get easier and this is going to be the dream job. And there's so many parts to it that are heavy to carry, and you have to figure out so many different things I didn't know I was even capable of learning. You know, it's not just writing. There's like so many different things you have to learn, and there's so many different jobs involved in this one singular job, and it's crazy. I didn't know any of that when I started.
Can I have a minute? Can I have a minute?
Go for
So
it.
I just went to the 20 Books conference, and I don't know if you, oh, it has to be like right in front of my face. Okay. But somebody was giving away these cute little things, and it says, you should be writing and editing and marketing and outlining your plot and cover designing to market and publishing and running ads and creating keywords and making a mailing list and developing a website and tracking your income and scheduling book signings and making merchandise and appealing to your super fans and paying taxes, ... So I grabbed one of these. Okay, there it is. So cute, because isn't that it? That's what we do all day.
It's funny that you have this much writing time in your day and this much of everything else. Let's talk a little bit about the difference between KDP and wide. And I know there was quite a few readers who are interested in this, because not everyone does understand the difference, and why you chose either one, if you're, you know, if you're picky about it, which some people are. Let's go to Kate.
I chose wide because Amazon's a devil. Wait, no, wait, sorry. That's for a different Facebook group. Please ignore that statement. That was no. So yes, as I am wide though. So the thing is, there's two kind of tracks, we can call them, for self-publishing. You have KDP Select, which is where you can put your books into Kindle Unlimited. And then we have wide, where you're not in Kindle Unlimited and your books are available at all the other stores. And some authors do only one, some authors do only the other, and some authors do a mix of the two. And I'm only wide, which means my books are on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo, Google Play, and a bunch of other stores, but I had to make sure I said those 5, otherwise somebody from Apple will snipe me. The reason I did that is I just didn't want to be exclusive to Amazon. To get a little bit into the nitty gritty, authors don't know what they're going to make in Kindle Unlimited until 2 weeks at the latest after they have accrued pages read. So like when you read a book in Kindle Unlimited, you get paid per page that is read. So it's about anywhere between 0.004 and 0.005 cents per page. It's all technical. I used to be in KU. I've done everything. But it's up to 6 weeks after after that happens, that you find out what the page read rate is going to be, because it changes every month. And it was kind of in a point, and sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up. I had a baseline there, whereas like, if it ever goes below this number, I'm out. And it went to that number and I said, see ya. And that was 2017. And so now my books are available. And because Kindle Unlimited requires exclusivity, you can't kind of make up for whatever, if you lose money in that rate, you can't make up for money in other places. So now my books are available at all the stores. And if you still want to get them in like a subscription program, you can get them when you're wide. You can put your books in libraries, or there's also Scribd, which is another ebook rental program. If you're in Canada and a couple other places, there's Kobo Plus. So it's not like you're not putting your book in subscription programs. It's just, you're not putting it in the exclusive one. So it's, it's not like a value judgment or whatever. It's just, that's what my business decision has been on that.
Alana?
I am exclusive to Amazon on KU. My income pretty much is, depending on the month, 65% of my income is from Kindle Unlimited to 80%. So that is definitely the majority of my income is from KU. So I think there's 2 reasons why I stay. 3. One is, I think it's harder for me as a non-technical person to do the going wide piece technically. It's also, I think a lot of romance fans really use the KU. It is, people who are reading a book a day or 3 books a week or whatever. It's it is really a financial decision to be on KU, and I want to be available to those people. And also it is at this moment in time, I think also better for me financially. So that's why I'm in exclusive to Amazon. Amazon is the devil, Kate, though. You are right. And, the more income streams you have in these precarious days, the more all of your eggs are in one basket with Amazon. And everybody nod that it's very scary to have all your income coming in from one place. That is scary. Erin can attest to some issues with that. When Amazon screws you up, they're the hand that feeds you. It's a scary thing. Okay.
Julie?
I went into Kindle Unlimited as well, just because when I was learning, I had a mentor in the beginning. I found someone who was helping guide me through the process. And the way I look back, I think it was a good decision initially. Eventually, maybe I will go wide, but for now, I have a lot of readers in Kindle Unlimited, and it is a good place to find new readers because it doesn't cost a reader to try your book. If they're already paying for the service, they get in there, they try it. If they don't like it, they move on. If they like it, hey, you've gained another reader. So it's a very good place to build up a readership. And only have to really, again, one technology to get used to and to master. So going wide doesn't scare me, but it is about the commitment to suddenly have to learn how to do the various softwares involved with Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo, and so forth, as well as the marketing that goes with all of those, because there are different sources for marketing. If you're in Amazon, you can use Amazon, you can use Facebook. There's a few others you could do, but there's just a whole new game when you go wide. And right now I've just been focused on just the writing part, and to have to take one more step away from the writing. I don't want to do that at the moment, but maybe eventually, if I ever encounter a really bad problem with Amazon and I feel like I have to move on to save my business, then I'll do so. But for now, I enjoy being in KU.
Vicki?
For SFR, I am, my publisher has me wide. A benefit to that you might not think about is being able to do local things. For example, when I wanted to do a book signing at Barnes & Noble, if I only had books through Amazon, the way the manager explained it was, we're not going to like market for our business rival. So having my books wide means that I can do book signings, you know, at Barnes & Noble or Half Price Books or whatever. And looking forward to a library con coming up next month. So not that you couldn't do a library with your KU books, but it's just a little something to think about.
Sandra?
Unmute me. I have to unmute me. I started out wide and I struggled for about a year and a half. And a very well-known author private messaged me. And after I finished my happy dance, because I've read everything she ever wrote, she asked me, why are you not in KU? And I said, well, because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. And she said, look into it, try one, take my word for it. And I did. And I haven't looked back. KU has been wonderful to me. I have no complaints at all. However, I'm aware Amazon is the devil. And I am aware that there's a whole lot going on out there right now. You know, knock wood, I've been lucky to not have to had faced anything that some of these authors have had to face. And I don't know how they dealt with it with the same mentality. Having said that, I am considering going wide, and I've taken steps to do so. I have been told that certain books, after they've been in KU a while, they kind of drop off the radar and they stop bringing income, they stop getting readers. I started this in 2016, and so far I haven't seen that. When I do, that is my target for then I'm going to pull that book and I'm going to put that book wide. But so far I haven't done so. I'm very happy with the results KU has given me. And the flip side of that is there was a time that I could barely afford to look at a book in the grocery store, much less buy it to take home and read. And I feel like KU would have helped me as a reader back then if I would have been able to read anything I could get my hands on. Because in situations like that, generally you're looking for an escape from reality. You just want to get away for a while. If you can't afford it, KU can give it to you. And I like to be able to offer that to my readers. So there will always be something that I've written in KU though I am in the process of engineering, taking some of it wide.
As an author who's had very recent issues with Amazon, and as a reader who loves KU, and I can't imagine not having it, and KU treated me so well before this. I've made so much money off of pages read. If you'd asked me a year ago, I never would have been considering going wide. And now I'm making moves to do that because I've had the life scared out of me in the last 6 months. And it is like a question on everyone's minds right now. I know so many authors who are considering it, so many authors who can't consider it because so much of their income is through KU. I just find it a fascinating discussion because there's just, everybody has a different opinion on it. Kate?
This isn't like, I'm not making a value judgment or anything, but just like any of the readers that are watching along. And if you haven't looked at your local library yet, check out what kind of resources they have. Like, this is not to say get rid of KU, but this is like, if you're looking for authors like me or whatever, look if your library has ebooks or has audio, or, you know, audiobooks or another thing, like if you don't have Audible or whatever, that's a whole other kettle of fish that I'm not going to get into. But seriously, like my library, and I'm not in a huge like library market, but my library has tons of ebooks, and I can request them. And if you go on my Facebook or my YouTube page, I have a video about how to request them. A little plug there, but like if you're looking for wide authors and you're a KU reader and you're frustrated, like check out your library. You might be able to request the books there if you don't want to like pay for another service, because you're already, at least in the US, you're paying through your taxes. So you might be able to get them. There's some libraries have really, for some reason in the last 2.5 years, libraries have really stepped up their digital content for some strange reason that none of us know about. But yeah, really take a look at your local library, or I think like New York Public Library or maybe Chicago Public Library, sometimes you can get, even if you don't live there, you can get a membership and get access to their digital content. So.
I think we had a question that came in, something about cost. How do you decide how to price your books? Is it by size or anything else? Julie.
Oh, how do I price the books? Usually by size, although the first one in the series, I try to make a little bit less, just to give people a taste of it and what they're getting into. Sometimes they'll make the first book free, what we call perma-free, if I leave it out there free for basically forever. And I have that for usually one for each of the genres. I'm in sci-fi, alien romance. I'm also in reverse harem and paranormal. I write shifters as well. So I like to have one free book for each genre for people to get a taste of my writing. But yeah, basically, I don't want to overinflate my price and not be competitive, but I don't want to underrate what I feel the book's worth. Everybody has different strategies when it comes to it. So generally, my books will be $2.99 and up, and there's also Kindle, Amazon. They have different royalties based upon what your price point is. So you get less royalties if you're under $2.99. So that's a starting point for a lot of people as well. This is our living. We have to be paid what we're worth, and hopefully I feel I'm pricing myself appropriately to be competitive, but not to be undervaluing myself as well. And we have the opportunities to take advantage of sales for readers who, like sales and are willing to wait a little bit longer. So that's a nice option to have out there too.
Sandra?
I, for the most part, price according to the length of the book. I'm not going to charge somebody, the $2.99 or $3.99 for a novella. I have books that are 150,000 words. Okay, I could get I can price that one a little higher, but my smaller books, I'm going to keep as inexpensive as I can based on the length of the book itself. Now, when I do release a little cheaper than the actual price is going to be. And I usually leave it that way for about a week for the exact same reason that I mentioned earlier, which is I remember not being able to afford the books that I really needed to keep my sanity when trying to get away from reality. So when I release cheaper, and then my books go up about a week to 2 weeks at the most later. But yeah, for the most part, I determine price based on the length of the book, the word count.
Vicky?
Same.
Kate?
I go based on the vibes. Now it's not specifically word count. Like I know some authors will have like, if it's below 10,000 words, it's this. If it's 10,000 to 30,000, it's this. I kind of have if it's a novella, it'll be $2.99, $3.99. If it's a novel, it'll be around $5, maybe a little bit more. I like having that space where I can run promos. Because even though marketing's my least favorite part, I find it's I like to be able to offer limited time sales and really like focus on a thing. And if your book's always 99 cents, you can't really like make it special. It works for some people, but that's kind of where I am. I do also offer, I think I've got 4 books for free right now, like on stores, and then there's extra free. I give stuff free all the time too. So my books maybe tend to be a little bit on that higher price, but I'm also giving away a ton of stuff. But yeah, it's not a specific, it's more of a category rather than a specific word count.
Alana?
I think people have pretty much covered it. I do it according to length.
Yeah, I see readers asking about this a lot more and more lately in like Facebook groups and stuff, specifically where they'll comment on the price of an ebook nowadays. And I noticed Nancy in the comments said people pay $5 to $6 for a coffee. And yeah, like an author will spend on average months writing these. Like imagine the hours just writing itself, and then everything else that is involved in that. And again, all the things are paying to produce it. And yeah, price can be touchy, especially when you're seeing readers kind of comment on it a lot publicly lately. Like, how are you supposed to value yourself? You know? Yeah. I would say, let's go ahead and do what advice?
Okay.
What advice would you give to a writer who is considering starting the self-publishing journey? Alana.
Oh, I'm so glad you called me. Write. See if you can get people to read without paying you, to get friends, to get early readers, to get feedback, keep writing. You know, everything else is just fluff if you don't write a book and if it's not good enough to read.
Vicky?
Yeah, amen. You become a better writer by writing.
Yes.
So absolutely right. I would also say, you need to have a little bit of humility and accept editing and critique. I am so guilty of my first few books, feeling like they were perfect as is. And I go back now and cringe. And it's hard. It's kind of hard to swallow sometimes. I'm gonna plug my publishing house for a minute, EOS Publishing. I developed a thick skin. I developed the humility that I needed. And when she came back and said, you actually do need to rewrite this ending, I sucked it up and I did it and I sent it back. And she's like, okay, we're getting closer. I need you to rewrite this other section. And I was like, I am so proud of the Predator Planet series. It is my finest work. And it's because I had to go back and I had to fix, and I had to be humble, and I had to open my eyes to the weaknesses. So that's a really difficult thing for a new writer to do, is to accept that this, this golden child that they produced out of their brain isn't quite perfect. So try to have some humility and accept advice from people that you trust, and you don't have to accept unkind critiques. You make sure it's important that whoever is editing your work or critiquing your work is respectful about it. But that's what I would say.
Let's go to Julie.
Yeah, keep writing. It's like with any other, if you do a musical instrument and you learn to play piano, which I do, so I'm making the comparison, your skills always increase with time, but if you stop doing it, they actually, they get rusty. So growth is with continuing to do it. And also, in addition to continually writing, reading is very important as well. I was writing sci-fi without really romance as much of an element in my books for a while there. And then suddenly I realized, you know what? I think I'd like to throw some romance in there. So I started studying the art of romance. And the best advice I saw anywhere came from someone that said, if you're going to write romance, read romance, but not just the type that you like. Read every type of romance there is out there. Everything from historical, Regency, BDSM, erotica, shifter, every type of romance, to get a feel for it and to understand it. And not just the good stuff, but also the bad stuff, the poorly written stuff. So you could see what other people do right and what they do wrong. So you learn from reading other people's works. And it helps you grow. So the reading is just as important as the writing to a large extent. And that's something that I find a little hard to do sometimes while I'm writing, because there's so many great authors that I love, and I'll pick up a person's book and I'll start reading it. I'll get intimidated thinking, oh my gosh, this person can really write and I can't write. So sometimes my reading drops off a little bit. I'll space it out when I'm not writing, but I'm more in a editing or a marketing phase. That's when I'll pick up and I'll be reading someone else's book. But both components, basically.
Sandra?
Everything everybody said, yeah. But also, to me, what I've always, every time somebody asks me, is write with your heart. Don't write with your head. Don't look around and decide, oh, well, this genre is selling, I'm going to write that. Or that one's doing good, I think I'm going to write that. Write your heart. Because if you don't write your heart, your words don't have passion. And if you don't have passion in your story, people are reading a newspaper article. You've got to write what you love and what you feel, or your emotions won't come off that page, Adam. That's the best thing I can think to tell anybody. And develop a really thick skin.
Kate?
So I'm going to answer this on the assumption that you've already written your book, because that's the first thing, is you get so many questions and then it's like, oh, I've written a paragraph, and it's like, cool, come back to me when you got a book or most of a book. And I'm helping a friend. She's publishing her first book now. And I'm like, way more excited for everything she's doing than I'm like, whatever, here, take my books, I don't care, whatever, this is old hat, I've been doing this forever now. But this is her first time, so I'm like, what are you doing? Oh my God, tell me. So if you're like on this path and starting it out, like take it one step at a time. Do not try and learn every single bit like in a week, in a day. Learn about what the bookstores are first. Like figure out like, and just take it one step at a time. Like, okay, is it going to be KU? Is it going to be wide? And like, you're only thinking about that. You're only thinking about how do I find my cover? And it's like, don't do it all and try and do it at once. It's okay with your first book. If it takes you a year, it is okay if once you've written it, you take a year to figure all this stuff out. Like give yourself that grace and that time to learn everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I would add on that anything you don't know can be found on the internet. Google. Just Google everything. You can find how to publish, but like programs to use, opinions. You can go to YouTube, podcasts. There's so much information out there. I learned how to do this from Google. That's the only thing I used. I did not have an author friend that helped me figure it out. I had to learn it by myself, and the information is out there. You just have to find it.
And just plugging it. I have not taken this course, but I've suggested it before. David Gaughran has a free like step 0 of self-publishing course on his website that's supposed to have a lot of good information in it. And it's the reason I recommend it is because it's free. There are people who will charge you to learn all this stuff. And it's not that it's not good programs, but it's like, if you don't know, find the free stuff first and then wait till you're willing to pay. So.
Yeah, Tiffany says, ask fellow authors, especially those in the genre you're writing in. Author community is so supportive, and that is so incredibly true. Reach out to your favorite authors. Not everyone is going to be able to answer, but I definitely did that when I started. I reached out to my favorite authors, and yeah, the community is humongous. Sci-fi romance groups on Facebook are the best. Cecilia asked, how can we find readers to get feedback? And that's the same thing. Facebook groups, Goodreads, you can go on TikTok now, reach out to authors that are specific kind of in your writing style or your genre and ask them, for a plug in their Facebook group. I've done that before where they felt their writing style kind of would entice my readers, and so they were like, can I ask for beta readers, can I ask for alpha readers, ARC readers, so yeah, all that stuff. I think that's all we've got. We will hang around for a few minutes to see if there's any more questions. You could pop them in the comments and we will answer them. I would like to add about the Abduct Me SFRCon giveaway. You can find all that information on the website. We have so many signed books this year. We're picking 3 winners. We are picking an international winner. You can figure out how to enter and all that stuff on the link at the top of the video. I figured out how to pop that in there. It's all on the website. Tiffany Roberts asked, what are you all currently reading right now? And this is interesting and I want to know. So let's start with Sandra.
Currently, I'm doing an alpha read for one of my best friends who's also my cover designer, Christopher Coyle. He publishes under Chris Storm, and I contact him regularly and say, when am I getting my next chapter?
Kate?
And on my Kindle, waiting for me right now is Jeanette Lynn's latest release. So I'll be going to that next.
Kate?
I have been rereading a lot of stuff recently because there's a book I want that's coming out like not till April. And so my brain's like focused on that book. And so I just have to go back and just reread stuff because my brain won't accept new information. And right now I'm rereading the Wyborn and Griffin series by Jordan L. Hawk, and I'm on book 8. And it's a historical gay romance, paranormal, like beginning of the 19th century in New England, and it's really good. So,
Alana.
I'm on a Lizzie Beckman kick, and I think I've just devoured everything she's written. So I'm probably on to the next person.
Vicky.
Do you have the long list or the short list? I'm always in the middle of several books. I'm in the middle of Planet Zero, which is really fun. And I just finished a legal thriller last night, The Beach House by James Patterson. That was really good. And I started today a nonfiction called Beyond Shame. And Matthew somebody trying to get, he's talking about getting beyond sexual shame. I'm like, you need to meet all the alien romance authors because we've moved on.
I'll have it.
Julie.
Actually beta reading for another author. She's writing Reverse Harem Mafia. I actually got her into reverse harem, and now she's fallen in love with the genre. So she does not write alien. I don't write mafia, but we tend to do well at critiquing each other's in terms of bringing out the emotions of the characters and finding plot errors, items like that. But the next on my to be read list that's not a beta read is Tiffany Roberts Ensnared, just because I keep reading all these good things about it, and especially on TikTok. So yeah, I've been pulled in by that one.
I have Milana Jack's new release, Savage in the Touch, I want to say. I started it last night, and no fault of her own, I passed out, but I plan on reading that tonight. I think that's it. I want to thank everybody for watching our second author panel tonight. And tomorrow night, we're going to be discussing tropes at 9 p.m. EST. And the conversion of times is also in the banner in the group for other time zones. Again, go to the website if you want to enter the giveaway. And I hope everybody's excited for this weekend. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.